morning, everyone. It's a new week of devotions. And when I prepare these devotions, God always gives me the start, gives me a word. And He's given me a word today, one that I haven't thought about for a very long time, but one that was very important in my early Christian life. Because the pastor's wife we had used to use this scripture a lot. And it comes from 1 Peter 1 and check the verse 13, and it says in the King James, therefore, gird up the loins of your mind. Be sober. Gird up the loins of your mind is such an old-fashioned saying, isn't it? It basically means brace yourself. It means sort your mind out. And then what about the loins? Well, the loins are the seat of your strength and your vigor. In Bible times, men wore long flowing garments. And that would be very, very impractical if you were running or going into battle. And they would pull the garments up and tuck them into their belts tightly so that they could then run. And so that was what girding up the loins meant. And because I'm quite a lot older than most other people, when we were young, we used to wear girdles, which comes from the same word. And girdles, well, they kind of kept our stockings up as well, but they pulled in your tummy and kind of made you firm and flat. So they were quite useful. um, but in other words, when you had a girdle on, you felt like you weren't like wobbly, And so gird up the loins of your mind is having focused thinking, not wobbly, not like jelly, not all over the place. Firm, self-controlled, single-minded, established and confident in truth thinking, intentional thinking. Now, I have to confess that when I read that verse, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, that was only half the verse. The other half of the verse says, in the Amplified, set your hope fully and unchangeably on the grace, the divine favor of Jesus Christ. In Ephesians 6:14 and Amplified, it says, stand therefore, hold your ground, having tightened the belt of truth around your loins. And it's one of the most important truths of the Christian faith is that it is His grace that has saved us. By grace, through faith, we are saved. And grace is defined in the Amplified. You know how they amplified it, the black brackets? And it's defined in several places in the Amplified, in the little brackets, as the unmerited favor and merciful kindness by which God, exerting His holy influence on souls, turns them to Christ and keeps and strengthens and increases them in Christian values. That's what grace is. And the way that we gird up the loins of our minds is that we rest our hope fully on the grace of God. It's His grace that keeps us, His grace that holds us, and His grace that is all we need. It's never our own efforts. And that's why we constantly remind one another, you and I are highly favored and deeply loved of God.